Something a bit different in this video. I'm going to share a recent anecdotal story about my experience with car insurance. Hey everyone, and welcome to The Savvy Squaddy. In this video I'm going to regale you with a tale about car insurance and how doing 30 minutes of work saved me around £2,200. A bit of background first though to set the scene. Currently I am living unaccompanied as I've been seconded for 6 months to work with a different department. I'm loving it, living in the block, a lot less responsibilities and a full night's sleep during the week. The same can't be said for the wife who's at home with a 3-nager and a 4-month-old who is currently teething, but #choose a trade. One of the issues we knew we would encounter with my home away from home was transportation. We are a one-car household. Now, she needed the car more than me to do the nursery run, activities with the kids, shopping and all the other stuff a solo mum has got to do. Fun fact, my wife passed her driving test within the same 24-hour period our second child was born. Absolute legend. The little man was practically doing the clutch control for her. We were pretty sure we could do these 6 months without buying a second car. But then how would I get home for the weekends and back? It's a 4 to 5 hour round trip depending on traffic, and it's a big ass to do that on a Friday and Sunday with 2 young kids. Public transport then? Well, that shit was expensive and would take even longer than the round trip. But we found a compromise. A friend from my old unit dropped me off halfway and the wife picked me up from the services, cutting that 4-hour trip into 2. We did that for around a month. Whilst not impossible, it was hard to see this being sustainable for 6 months. But also during this period, something else was happening. The sergeants to staffies board sat and we had quite a few promotions within our trade, which meant there was going to be some movement at my level. Now, I had a very good report and due to the movement from sergeant to staffy, there was a strong likelihood I would come off the board and be selected to promote to sergeant, which would mean I would be getting posted and moving. Now, the wife is currently on maternity leave, but she very much intends on keeping her job regardless of where we end up moving, which then means we may require 2 cars if we both need to commute. So we decided to pull the pin and buy a second car, and a couple of weeks later I found out I'm promoted, which means we'll be moving towards the end of the year, but don't know where yet, which itself poses its own issues. We also decided that if my next posting didn't require the need for 2 cars, then we would sell the old one. Our new one is pretty much better on every metric other than the boot is a bit smaller. If you're curious as to what we brought, it was the best selling car globally in 2023 and stands a good chance of keeping that title in 2024. So that's the starter. Now for the main course. With a second car comes more insurance, and every day is a learning day and I learned something new during this process. I went on the usual comparison sites looking at quotes and found one with the same provider our first car was with. It was the second cheapest but offered more additional extras, so we went with that one. I also included my wife on the insurance as an additional driver so she could take it out for a spin as and when. Because she only had recently passed her test, we were expecting the insurance to be high, even with my 8 years and no claims discount. In the end, it came in at over £1,600 for the year. This was the second cheapest option we found across the big comparison sites, and so we bought it. It all went through, no dramas. But then I got an email. It asked for proof of my no claims discount. I thought, not a bother, I can show that. Easy. Now, some of you more experienced car folk will know where this is going. For those of you, like me, who've never had 2 cars at the same time before, then learn from my mistake. I was fully comped on our old car, and I used the no claims discount I had on that for this new car. Little to my knowledge, this is a no-go. I thought the discount was attached to the person and could be used across multiple vehicles at the same time. I was wrong. That's not the case. Bit of a nose, but I figured the new insurance quote would be a few hundred extra quid with 0 years of no claims. I was willing to pay that, but oh, how I was wrong again. The insurance company came back with an additional payment of just over £1,600. Absolute joke, I thought. Not a chance I'm paying that. Took the wife off as an additional driver and it lowered it by £400. Still too bloody high. Not gonna lie, I was pretty annoyed at this point. I've been with this insurance company for years. They consistently offered a better renewal price than their competitors, which is why I've stayed. Our life insurance is also with them, but they're trying to have my pants down. I know insurance premiums have gone up, but that was clearly taking the piss. So back to the comparison sites, and I ended up using one that I haven't used before, Uswitch. I was quoted £800 for the year. Absolute winner. But that was with my 8 years no claims discount, which meant I had to stop my policy on the old car. This also meant getting the wife fully comped on the old car, which was good because then she could start building up her own no claims. We had a look at this with previous comparison sites, and even with me as an additional driver, she was being quoted close to £3,000 for her first year as the cheapest option. But my new £800 quote was with a multi-car policy and they quoted just over £1,000 for my wife to be fully comped on the old car, and with me as an additional driver. So in total, we would both be fully comped on our respective cars for just over £1,800. A much better deal than the £3,200 for the new car alone, and if we went through with that and didn't shop around, then including the old car as well, we would have paid just over £4,000 for the year in car insurance. Bloody crazy. Instead, we are paying £1,800 for the year for 2 cars fully comped for each driver, one of whom only has a few months experience. Much better deal in my opinion, saving us around £2,200, and we smashed it out with a single payment. Moral of the story, take the time to shop around and get the best possible deals. It may take 30 minutes, it may take an hour, it could be 50 minutes on the phone, but if it saves you hundreds or thousands, then why wouldn't you do it? And don't do what I initially did and only use a couple of sites. There are many out there which can have better deals. Often insurance providers will do special offers through these sites to get people to switch to them. It's definitely worth having a look around. And as a reminder, if you buy a second car, most insurance companies don't allow you to use your no claims discount on 2 different cars at the same time. So just bear that in mind. Every day is a learning day. And a final thing I just want to highlight is that before we made the final decision, we ran the numbers. We considered the deposit, monthly payments, running costs and insurance. We ran different scenarios from how we are now with quite a bit of disposable income to what will be like next January to September when both kids are in full-time nursery, even to if my wife lost her job and it was just my income. In all scenarios, we could afford a second car and the associated costs. Although the latter scenario would be tight as hell and there'll be no more Costas or Pizza Hut for us. Also worth noting that within these scenarios we are still saving and investing and on track for our long-term financial goals. The decision to buy a second car was not impulsive, but was calculated and measured. It was a decision we were able to make with confidence due to the secure and stable financial foundation we have created for our family. And in my eyes, this is the essence of sound financial planning, making informed decisions that allow you to enjoy life while maintaining financial stability. The value of also having a second car for our family can't be understated. My wife now has a lot more freedom to go and do things. Think back to a time when you passed your driving test, the world just opens up. She's now experiencing that. It also relieves a lot of unnecessary stress that came with the Friday pickup and Sunday drop-off. I can now tell her to f*** off and drive herself when she tells me to go pick up yet another summer garden toy for the kids that she's bought off Facebook Marketplace. She then gives me a look and I end up going anyway, but that's beside the point. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this style of video. Let me know if you want me to do more personal anecdotal ones as in when the situation pops up. But also, let us know in the comments some of your car insurance stories. Did anything surprise you? Thank you all for watching. If you liked what you just saw, please hit the subscribe button up there. And if you want to see some more videos, click over there. See you soon.